Hey, buenos dias. This is Pastor Junior, and the title of my message this morning is "The Sins That We Fail to Conquer Will Eventually Conquer Us." Right? What's the title of this morning's message? Well, the sins that we fail to conquer will eventually conquer us. And it's right here in the book of Psalm 141. It's a Psalm of David. Right? What's a psalmist? A psalmist is one who writes psalms. And David, right? The psalmist is David here, and he's writing. He's crying out to the Lord, right? He's crying out to the Lord, and he says, "Lord," "I cry out to you." Right? Who are you crying out to this morning? Right? Well, the psalmist David here, he's crying out to the Lord. He says, "Lord, I cry out to you." He says, "Give haste to me." Right? He says, "Give haste to me." In other words, come quickly to me. and then he says this. He says, "Lord, I cry out to you. Make haste to me. Give ear to my voice when I cry out to you." And then he says, "Let my prayers be set before you as incense." Right? Verse 2 says, "Let my prayer be set before you as incense." In other words, let my prayer be pleasing to you. And then in verse 3, he says, Lord, "Lord, set a guard over my mouth." Right? In other words, Lord, shut my mouth. He says, "Lord, shut my mouth." Why? Because he's prone to sin. Right? He's prone to retaliate. He's prone to curse back. Right? What's happening to homeboy right here is that he's being insulted. Right? The psalmist is being insulted, and he's being cursed at. He's being cursed at. He's being insulted. He's being cursed at. I think the last time I got insulted, well, let's just say cursed at, right? I was thinking about it this morning. I go, well, the last time I got cursed, I got cussed out I was at a gas station, and some lady came up to me, and she's like, "Excuse me, sir, can you help me out with $20?" And I was like, "Orale, $20?" I go, I don't think I've ever had anybody ask me for $20 before. But I told her, okay, pues you know what? I told her, hey, I'm willing to bless you with those $20. I go, let me just pray for you. And what happened? Man, she ended up cussing me out. She goes, you're one of those effing Christians, and you effing Christians this, and you effing Christians that. And I didn't retaliate. I didn't cuss back at her or anything like that. But, in my mind, I'm like, no, you're not going to have God's money, because, everything that we give, he gives us. Right? Everything that we give, he gives us. And I said, no, I'm not going to give this lady any money, any of God's money. But once again, here you have the psalmist David, right? He says, Lord, let my prayer be unto you as incense. What is incense? Well, the incense is an aroma, a sweet smelling aroma that fills up the room. He says, let my prayers be pleasing to you, just like incense. Right? But then he says in verse 3, he says, Lord, shut my mouth. Put a guard over my mouth, right? Because homeboy's prone to sin. He's prone to cuss back and to insult back. That's why he says, Lord, put a guard over my mouth. In the book of Ephesians, the book of Ephesians is the 10th book of the New Testament. Wait, is it? Yeah, it's the 10th book of the New Testament. and Ephesians 4:26, Ephesians chapter 4 verse 26 says, be angry and sin not. Right? And then in the book of Psalms chapter 4 verse 4, the psalmist David writes, be angry and sin not. Pues otra vez, twice. In Psalm 4:4 and Ephesians 4:26, the apostle Paul writing to the Ephesians says, be angry and sin not. So what does that mean? That means that you can be angry, just don't sin in your anger. Once again, you could be angry, just don't sin in your anger. Amen. And why? Because every word that comes forth out of my mouth, we shall give an account to. Every word that comes forth out of my mouth, we shall give an account to. Right? And it's in the book of Romans. Romans 14:12. Romans 14:12 says that we're all gonna give an account to God, right? It says each of us will give an account of ourselves to God. And, we're going to have to give God an account for every word that comes forth out of our mouths. When he comes back, yeah, Anyways, that's the title of our message this morning. I know I made it a little long. But there you go. That's the word, just a word of encouragement once again, right? What was the title of our message? Well, the sins that we eventually fail to conquer will eventually conquer us. Orale, God bless you guys. Just a word of encouragement.